Good afternoon, I'm Paolo Del Rosario. This is Newsfeed on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Activists protest the Manila visit of U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and U.S. Defense Chief Lloyd Austin. They gathered outside Camp Aguinaldo in Quezon City, where Blinken and Austin met with their Filipino counterparts, Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo and Defense Secretary Gilbert Teodoro. The bagong alyansang makabayan condemns what it says is increasing U.S. military intervention in Philippine affairs.
It will lead to intensified basing of the U.S. in the Philippines. It will heighten tension in the region. The U.S. is putting forward an agenda that is contrary to our stand for peace and freedom in our country.
Senator Joel Villanueva files a bill seeking to repeal the law taxing Philippine offshore gaming operators. Under the bill, Villanueva is calling for the permanent cancellation of POGO licenses issued by Manila's gaming regulator, PAGCOR. The measure gives POGOs 30 days from the law's effectivity to cease operations. Failure to comply would mean a penalty of up to 20 years in prison or a fine of 100 million pesos. The filing of the bill comes more than a week after President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. announced a total ban on POGOs during his third State of the Nation address. Meanwhile, in yesterday's Senate hearing, still on the POGO issue, a heated exchange between Senator RZA Onos and former presidential spokesperson Ari Rock ensued. Roque is being linked to the POGO issue, which he denied. This and other highlights from the hearing from Agatha Gregorio's report.
Alleged Philippine offshore gaming operator bosses were arrested, but he admits he does have interest in the corporation that supposedly owns the property. He also said he stayed in the place after he left government, but it is now being rented out. Roque also denied lawyering for Lucky South 99 or any other POGO for that matter. But it was not a smooth denial at the Senate hearing for the former government official.
Wait. Let me finish.
To answer.
Yes, you already answered in excess.
Kapag gusto nyo akong tumigil, papatigil nyo ako pag ako nag-explain.
Yes.
I thought we were engaged in the search for the truth.
Oh, definitely we are.
Senator RZA Onos mentioned that an organizational chart submitted by Lucky South 99 to the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation contained Roque's name. But Roque strongly denied the accuracy of that chart. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian then threatened to cite Roque in contempt for acting disrespectfully towards Ontiveros. Roque proceeded to apologize for his behavior. Meanwhile, Gatchalian suggested that the Senate file a case against suspended Bamban Mayor Alice Guo for disobedience to summons issued by the Congress and its committees. Guo, along with other individuals, was issued an arrest order for absences from Senate hearings on illegal POGOs. Ontiveros agreed with Gatchalian's recommendation. Bamban Mayor Alice Guo's accountant, Nancy Gamo, also appeared at the hearing, saying Guo was never a special client of hers. Gamo even added that the last time they saw each other was back in 2017 as they mostly communicate on the phone.
Itong mga corporations na kayo ang nagproseso ng incorporation, madami po actually dito ay napag-alaman namin na may indicators talaga ng pagiging shell companies lamang. Hindi nagbabayad ng buwis sa BIR, walang operations gaya ng nag-obserbahan ninyo, wala ring empleyado, at walang remittance sa pag-ibig. So, hindi nyo rin po ba naisip yon na medyo problematic? Kahit nung unang napansin nyo na hindi nag-operational, tapos ito pang ibang mga indicators na para sa amin po ay indicator ng shell company. Hindi po ba nag-occur sa inyo?
No, hindi po. Kasi ang concern ko lang naman po yung hanap buhay ko na mag-rehistro, mag-process ng dokumento. So, it's not my obligation to assess or evaluate.
Agatha Gregorio, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The controversial secret funds of the Marcos administration slashed in the proposed 2025 national budget. Here's a look at next year's spending plan from Hannah T.
The 2025 budget proposal sees a 16% cut in the Confidential and Intelligence Funds or CIF, dropping from 12 billion pesos to 10.2 billion. Budget Secretary Amina Pangandaman emphasizes that these funds, used for undercover and national security operations, will be strictly allocated to agencies with a clear need.
Ang Philippine National Police po sa ilalim ng DILG, pinaglaanan din po natin ang 806 million pesos. Ang Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency po ay merong 500 million pesos. Na ang Department of National Defense as a whole, kasama po ang Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Headquarters, Philippine Army, Philippine Air Force, Philippine Navy will get a total, Office of the Secretary will get a total of 1.8 billion pesos. If you notice po, based on dun sa breakdown na binigay ko, sila lang po yung pwedeng may confidential and intel fund. Kaya din po siya bumaba ng 16%.
Other agencies, including Finance, Transportation, Bureau of Customs, and Bureau of Immigration, will also get a share of the intelligence expenses. The 2024 budget's 9.2 billion peso allocation for confidential and intelligence funds to the Office of the President sparked controversy over potential misuse. Concerns increased when unprogrammed funds rose to 731.45 billion pesos, prompting fears of insufficient oversight. Meanwhile, House Speaker Martin Romualdez highlights that the 2025 budget prioritizes job creation, education quality, and healthcare expansion.
Patuloy naming babantayan dito sa Kongreso ang paggastos ng pondong ito. Titiyakin namin na bawat piso ay may balik din sa mamamayan sa pamamagitan ng programa at proyekto.
In line with the constitutional mandate, the largest budget share goes to education, with 977.6 billion focusing on quality and accessible tertiary education. Public Works receives 900 billion pesos for infrastructure, and health is allocated 297.6 billion. The Interior and Local Government gets 278.4 billion pesos for PNP, BFP, BJMP, and gender-responsive initiatives. The defense sector is allocated 256.1 billion pesos for national security. Social welfare receives 230.1 billion, while agriculture and agrarian reform are granted 211.3 billion. The transportation sector, with the highest budget increase, is allocated 180.9 billion to enhance infrastructure. The judiciary receives 63.6 billion pesos, and the Justice Department is allocated 40.6 billion for law enforcement and legal services.
I am confident that with the collaborative efforts of the executive and legislative departments, we will achieve a budget that not only meets the immediate needs of our people, but also sets the stage for a more prosperous and equitable Philippines.
Hannity, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Tragedy in the UK, 2 children stabbed to death at a Taylor Swift-themed event in northwest England. 9 more children were injured, 6 of them in critical condition. 2 adults were also badly hurt. A 17-year-old suspect has been arrested, but his motives remain unclear. But police say it's unlikely to be related to terrorism.
My officers were called to reports of a stabbing at 11:47 this morning and at a address in Southport. When they arrived, they were shocked to find that multiple people, many of whom were children, had been subjected to a ferocious attack and had suffered serious injuries. As a mum and a nana, I can't begin to imagine the pain and suffering that the families of the victims are going through at this moment in time.
King Charles says he and his wife Camilla were profoundly shocked when they heard the news of the knife attack. On X, formerly Twitter, he also sent his condolences to the families of the victims. The Prince and Princess of Wales also in disbelief over what happened, saying as parents, they cannot even imagine the grief of those who lost their children.
The events today are just truly awful. And I know the whole country is deeply shocked at what they've seen and what they've heard. And I know I speak for everybody in the whole country in saying our thoughts and condolences with the victims, their families, their friends and the wider community. And it's almost impossible to imagine the grief that they're going through and the trauma that they're going through.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro warns protesters for their violent actions after the presidential elections. Maduro says his government closely is monitoring the protests and knows what to do. He adds that he can label those promoting violence as criminals and terrorists. Anti-government protesters took to the streets of Caracas after the Electoral Authority declared Maduro winner in the elections, despite independent polls showing a big win for opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez. An update on the Paris Olympics medal count. Japan continues to dominate the medal tally. Japan currently leads with 6 golds, 2 silvers, and 4 bronze medals. Next is host country France with 5 golds, 8 silvers, and 3 bronze medals. And China, Australia, and the Republic of Korea all have 5 golds, while the U.S. has 3. Meanwhile, Filipino rower Joanie Delgaco now falls to the semifinal C and D category after finishing last in the quarterfinals of the women's single sculls. Delgaco made history as the first Filipino rower to make the Olympics. And those are the news this hour. I'm Paolo Del Rosario. Stay tuned to Bilyonaryo News Channel for more top-of-the-hour news. Catch us on Free TV, Channel 31, and also on our website, bnc.ph. Bilyonaryo News Channel, always on top.